Hello, everybody, and welcome again to another Edgar Draws Pixel Art. This one is actually so far one of my favorites of the ones that I have made. This is the Icarian Raider, Jungle Icarian Raider. You see, she is wielding what is known as a macraca. This is an actual weapon from history, wielded by the Soundbite tribe in Central Africa. And no, I'm not even looking at Google to tell you that. So if the information is wrong, well, it's because I'm not really trying. But anyway, I always try to put a little bit of interesting twist with some of the weapons for my enemy characters. And you see, she is one of the enemies, one of the regular enemies. And I'm doing my best to really make it where every single enemy in the game has a lot of care put into it. In this RPG, which is going to have side view battles, much like let's say Final Fantasy VI, except different in appearance, of course. Is going to have side view battles, and instead of static enemy poses, it's actually going to have moving enemies, moving characters, a lot of motion to it. I'm really looking to put a lot of detail and care into the actual battles. This is what I'm hoping for, at least. Uh, let's see. As for this character, the jungle Icarians as a whole, they're more like a tribal race of humanoid reptiles, and basically they attack in packs and they have intelligent groups, which means that they're not all just, oh, all of these enemies are fighters or all of these enemies are mages. No, they're going to be a mix that will force players to use a little more imagination and tact in combat rather than just saying, oh, I'm going to attack the first one I can until it dies and repeat the process. Um, which I suppose they could do that, but then they'd have to stock up on a lot more healing potions. Or poultices. I can't remember which one I'm making. I think it's poultices. Or mana and healing spells. You know, that sort of thing. What was I saying? Yeah, yes. So the Raiders, which is the one that I'm drawing, the Raiders are going to be uh, more frontline damage types. They're going to have more health than normal. Even with the shield, they'll definitely have more defensive capabilities, but they can also use it as an offensive weapon. So, you know, they'll have shield bash abilities and things like that. Let's see. So this time I was trying the whole I will draw her nude before I draw her clothes on her. And the process seemed a little backwards to me in the end. It's necessary because there are going to be other Icarian tribes, and I thought that it would make it a much easier process if I drew them both with and without armor on them, because that way I'd be able to more easily exchange it, which is what I'm going to do with the players as well. But um, you know, it did make for a lot of erasing and remaking. In this particular instance, perhaps I should have just drawn her with armor in the first place and then done the nude version later, which is what I end up doing with later projects. You'll see in the next video. I've I've actually recorded 2 videos ahead of this one as well. So, let's see. Yes, what I was saying about the nude and the armor with the players is that with each different armor set that the players can equip, their character will actually be seen wearing the different armor in battle, with their own twist on it. So, Aramil, the main mage of the story, will always have his handy sack at his side, which contains like his book, his ingredients, catalysts, that sort of thing. Whereas Kreishi will probably wear less restrictive, um, like a less restrictive version of each type of armor. And she's, the main martial artist of the story. So, like, you can pick from Aramil the mage or Kreishi the martial artist fighter as your main character, but of course you get to recruit more along the way. But throughout the game, you'll get to make all sorts of different decisions. In fact, the moral decisions that you make have a great impact on the future game. And I already have planned a number of romances for either character, and for both genders for either character. So it's, a fun mix. You get to play the character and end up molding them to your own manner, although their main story stays very much the same. In the end, there are a few moral choices that can greatly affect the end of the game, up to the very last battle, which is, depending on what sorts of things you do, depends on how you'll be able to combat the situation. I'm not going to ruin anything else for you, really, although I may just have. The whole premise of the game is really about stopping the plans of a mad chaos cult. So, you can perhaps put together some ideas of what the game may be like from that. But the aesthetic for the game, I'm trying something similar to the Final Fantasy things, but as far as combat, I'm trying for more fighting game-esque looking enemies and characters and moves. Sort of splice the two together. I'm not entirely sure what visual I'm going for during the story encounters. My original plan was to use comic book style or anime style art for the scenes and actually like draw them out for some of the shots, and also have full character portraits that would show up during conversation, much like Star Ocean, like the old Star Oceans, first and second one, if anybody remembers those. Let's see, but as far as story and choice, I am looking for something more along the lines of Dragon Age. So, moral choices, romances, everything will be included and involved. So, I have a pretty big project ahead of me. It looks like I am coming very close to finishing this off. I hope you have enjoyed watching the video. I'm sorry for rambling on so much, but perhaps you have found the information for the game itself interesting at the very least. Let's see, I suppose that's about it. If you have any questions, if you have any comments on the process that I went through, or if you would like to learn a little more about pixel art itself, ask me, and I may put out some more intuitive tutorial style videos. Hopefully I will have another video like this out next week. Goodbye.